Hello to our listeners. Welcome back to another inspiring episode of Crown It Up with DadaLocks Podcast, where we dive deep into empowering conversations about business, natural hair, and personal growth. I'm your host, Kiriko. It is a pleasure to be here today. And I'm excited because we have a phenomenal guest joining us today. Someone whose expertise and story is nothing short of extraordinary. And she's a really dear friend of mine too. So her name is Rosalie Matthu, affectionately known as the Hair Whisperers. I cannot wait to hear more about that as she breaks down exactly what that means to us as well. Part of the work that she has transformed this natural hair industry by helping luxury locticians create six-figure businesses with fewer than 50 clients. All right, girl, we want to get into that and find out more about that. And she's the
Awesome.
founder of, of Stylist Excel. With her journey, it's really inspiring, not just because she's of her success and how she has inspired our community, but also because of some of the bold decisions that she has made up until this point. So let me introduce you right in. Rosalie, jump in, say something, share something about yourself so we could get into all this good stuff that
Well, you shared quite a bit right there. That's awesome. I'm excited to be here.
we
Um, I, I've discovered that I like talking to people. Maybe I might make that a career. Just make space to be talking to people.
I
But
am
yes.
absolutely loving this. So yes, I say join.
hmm
Mhm.
So yes, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me,
Yes,
and I am looking forward to sharing, yeah, a lot more about this entrepreneurial journey and the twists and turns that it can take. But yeah, it's been a great, when you look back, it's been a great net experience.
good, good. Well, I'm super excited about this. So before we jump in, I always like to start with something light. Okay, so Rosalie, you worked with countless stylists and clients over the years, but if you had to describe your favorite client experience in just three words, what would they be and why?
Someone I have to say, my favorite client lately is my son. He's 7, and
Oh,
you said 3 words.
yes. That's
Okay,
okay. Break it
so
down a little more. Tell us more about that.
So he got locks in May
Oh,
because he didn't want to cut his hair. He didn't want to comb his hair. I put some coils in it when it was long. He didn't want to comb those out. I mean, wash his hair to do that again. And
uh-huh.
so we agreed that he needed locks. And what he teaches me is how to explain why things need to be done, because when you give him the why and he understands, he's like, oh, okay, let's do that. So he's excited. We put locks in. And then I was away from home with my parents for like about 8 weeks.
Okay.
And my husband, did the best that he could, but
Mhm.
his hair
Yeah.
wasn't getting the TLC that it needed.
Yeah.
And so I told him, because you have to tell him way in advance
Hmm.
when things need to be done, doesn't matter what it is, so he could get his mind right about it. So
Uh-huh.
I told him, hey, next Saturday, at the end of my day, dad's going to bring you to the salon, we'll do your hair.
Nice.
And he made a face about it, but he's like, okay, fine, right?
Right.
On the day that he came to get his hair done, he had been asleep in the car. He
Oh,
didn't want to do all the things. So the first word I'm going to use is trepidation. On his part, he did not want any parts of this getting this hair done.
right.
And then we
Now,
got into it. We washed the hair. He had his iPad. We're doing well. And then he said it hurts, right? Because it hadn't been tended to. So the hair stuck together. And I'm trying to be as gentle as I can. And I had done all the conditioning and the spraying and all the things. And I'm doing everything I know how to do
right.
to be as gentle as possible. But this poor boy is crying. So prior to him, my daughter had locks, and I
Mhm.
used to yell at her for how difficult she was making my job and how I love my job, and she was making me not love it.
Right.
But I've evolved. And
Right.
so now I can empathize that, yes, it must really hurt. It doesn't matter how gentle I'm being.
Right.
He's really feeling pain. And
Yes.
so I get to a like a resignation place, like I'm doing the best I can, right? And so that's the frustration I communicated to him.
Oh,
I was
sure.
almost at the point of tears, like, son, I'm doing the best I can.
Mm.
And so in that moment, like it was like his tears went like, and he
Oh,
was like, "Oh, mommy, I didn't know you were doing your best. I'm going to do my best too." And so it ended up with the third word, joy. We were both very joyful when it was done because he's over there shaking his head, and I'm like, phew, we made it.
girl, I know all about that. My son has been one of my clients, and I was so happy when he decided to make another decision. We used to go through things like that, so I'm with you
Yeah.
on that. Thank you so much for that amazing story. It's
Yeah.
clear that passion has been, has driven your career. And let's rewind a bit. Take us back from to the beginning of your journey, when you first realized you had a gift in natural hair, and you decided to lead in founding Stylist Excel Academy. Tongue-tied, right? Um, so
Right.
so please tell us a little bit about that.
So the journey actually, I feel like the journey started when I first came to the States. I was 12,
Hmm.
and um, I had gone to the salon for the first time in Zimbabwe, because before, you get your hair done by the auntie at home or whatever.
Right?
But I'd never gone to the salon. And so I went to the salon for the first time, got this elaborate style because we're going to America, and, you need to look just so. And I had a little, I had my first pair of jeans and my bubble jacket because it was October when we first came to the States in Akron, Ohio.
Yes.
And I thought with the outfit I was good, right? I'm coming to America. I'm going to fit in because it's what Americans are wearing.
Right.
But that hair gave me away immediately, and so that first day was all about this hair. Like, how was it done? And it was done with a needle and thread. It looked like twists, but
Yes.
it was like done with a needle and thread.
Mhm.
And when I'm explaining needle and thread, people are like, "Oh, it was sewn to your scalp." And then then it was a lot of explaining. So that was the first week of school, was horrible. And then so the second week of school, I took the hair out so I could be regular, but now I had this big afro. And
Mm.
so the questions that week were, is it a wig? Is that your real hair? Blah, blah, blah. So then the third week I relaxed it, and then everything just kind of came together, right?
Uh,
But in that process, I learned how to do my own hair because my mom, she wasn't the best with the hair. So she did her best, but at some point I convinced her to let me do my own hair. And
okay.
so my goal when I went to school, I used to spend Sundays in the bathroom planning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday hairstyles.
Wow.
And then when I would go to school, the goal was for people to be like, "Oh my gosh, you did something, your hair looks something has to be said about this hair. Otherwise,
On yourself.
for myself, yeah, someone has to say this
Uh,
hair looks nice."
right.
So then if it didn't get a response, it was out of rotation,
Right.
right? And so then I started from that. I started doing hair for my mom and for her friends.
Okay.
And then in college, I did the football players' braids. And then when I moved to Atlanta, I was getting my hair done. And it was the first time I heard anything about a professional braider, because I had learned how to do it, by myself.
Yes.
So the lady who was doing my Sisterlocks at the time told me she was looking for a braider, and I was like, "Oh, I braid." And she was like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a professional braider." And I was like, "There's
Yeah.
such a thing as a professional braider." So I
Right.
found the Talia Wajid natural hair care class. So
Mhm.
I took that class. It was 3 days, and I learned, natural hair, adding extensions and locks. Um, but I hadn't taken the Sisterlocks class at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that in order to be able to work in her salon, because she was looking for someone, and I was looking for, the 9 to 5 was doing some funny things, and so I was looking for how I was going to make a transition. Although doing hair wasn't actually what I was thinking, but I just knew I needed to work for myself.
Uh,
So then, when I got my Sisterlocks done, was that was the transformation that there was a transformation that happened at work within me, and realizing what I brought to the table, because I realized there's a space in our brain that we use to um, we spend a lot of time on thinking about what to do with our hair,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so I felt like when I got those locks, that space was freed up, and I had more capacity at work to see that I could do more, and then I wasn't allowed to do more, and then I needed to make a transition.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that part you talked about that takes up a lot of time of worrying. And when we lock it and find simpler ways to just wear our hair, like minus all the combing, all the managing, all the detangling, there's a certain space and time that we take back or get back, so to speak.
that's right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
I've seen it happen with my clients as well, because it just brings an awareness to your environment, because you were so focused on on yourself,
yeah,
on how you show up in an environment. So you're like, I need to put myself together in order to be in this environment.
yeah.
But then you have an awareness that uh, I'm a gift to this environment. So however I show up is how I show up,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Oh my
So,
gosh, exactly, exactly. That's great. That's great. So yeah, that's just yeah, that makes all the difference, in the world.
mhm.
I just love what all the things that you're saying. All right. So,
Oh, did I answer the question about how Stylist Excel came to be? No, I didn't.
yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. And so how did we get to Stylist Excel Academy?
We went around the mulberry bush right there.
That's okay.
So,
Okay.
in the course of getting my Sisterlocks and the job doing, not giving me the forward movement that I was looking for,
Mm,
the person who was doing my locks suggested that I take the Sisterlocks class. And
okay.
at first, I was resistant, because I was like, I was really not trying to do hair like that.
Right.
Um, but I was working in her salon, and I saw how she had things set up. And there were other people that she had worked with who were working in the salon, but I didn't know that there was one young lady who had worked with her to the point of quitting her job.
Oh,
So when she overheard my resistance about taking the class and doing Sisterlocks full time, she pulled me to the side, and she knew I was a math and science person.
mhm.
I worked in a lab as a quality chemist, right?
Okay. Mhm.
So she was like, okay, so what are you making at your job right now? So I told her. So she did the math that this is what she's doing, and if you do X, Y, and Z, this is what you could be making.
Mhm.
And that, numbers don't lie. It was real black and white. I was like, okay, when is that class? So I specifically went to the class. My goal I'd already set a goal that I was quitting my job in 2 years based on these numbers that we had calculated.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I went to the class for the purpose of uh, quitting my job. So I took the class. I started building my business, and I quickly got to a place where I needed help. Like the it's like the moment I started doing the thing properly, it was like the business like took off. I was booked beyond booked, and I needed help like all of a sudden, like within a year. So I started looking for help, and I recognized that all help is not help,
Woo,
right? So now I needed
girl, you saying something today.
right. So I thought if you had just you knew the fundamentals. You came from the class. Come on, right? And then in the middle of you actually doing the thing, I would realize, no, this is not how I want to do things. And so that's how Stylist Excel came about, was the
Okay.
fine tuning of the processes I was using to train the people that I wanted to work with. And so it's had many iterations, but the fine-tuned version of it right now is so reproducible, which is why I say that you can actually build your six-figure business with less than 50 clients. And if you're trying to quit your job, you could do it within a year.
I know that's right. The one, two, three, and get it done. However,
Yeah,
though, what kind of mindset must you have? Because let's be honest, like you said, there are those that come, they want the thing, they desire it, but something is blocking them. And a lot of those blockages are like traumas from youth that have not been dealt with. And they just
that's right.
can't seem to. But let me tell you what I've learned. I feel like when I started as well, because I didn't know, right?
Mhm.
The less I knew, the more challenging the trainee. Then the when I started adding systems into my process, I started fine tuning, like you said, refining even the person I choose to work with.
That's right.
You understand? So,
That's right.
but I do thank all of y'all. If y'all are out there,
Yes.
we thank you, like seriously.
Yes, we thank
Without
the learning
without
process,
there's
because
no me, right? You know?
this is the truth. This is the truth. Because it's a choice to learn. It's a choice to learn from people, no matter what the experience
Correct.
is.
Correct.
Because there were some there was some real negative. We will categorize them as very negative experiences
Yeah.
in the moment. But
Yeah.
when you reflect back, you're like, yeah, I see that if I had done something differently, the outcome would have been different. And that's the change you make moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it was necessary, like I always say, it's necessary to fall in the ditches. So when you come out, you now figure out how not to fall back in.
How not to fall in the ditch. I know that's right. That's very correct. That's
Yeah,
correct.
and I love that thing about refinement, because that is a big problem that I have found in this industry. I mean, it is one of the largest issues for me in
Mm,
my experience of mentoring. And there's mentoring, also the mindset of the business aspect again, that which is also like,
yeah,
and then there's the aspect of understanding that you've got to refine your work, you know.
that's right.
And
Right.
and how do you do that if you're not in community? How do you do that if you don't have an accountability partner? How do you do that
Mm,
if you don't do follow-up courses? You know what I mean?
mm,
So
mm,
we all need to be going and refreshing our skills all the time,
that's true.
engaging with people who are actually doing it, you know.
That's right. Yeah.
However, I think but there's a reason for the big downfall, because also this industry is not regulated, you know. And when
Yeah.
I say regulations, a lot of people go, get away, it's culture and whatever. But guess what? Even culture had regulations, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's a
That's
certain
right.
protocol that you have to follow, even to go through
That's right.
rites of passage to be a man or a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do feel that there is something that is needed. And that's why I like Stylist Excel, and, you know, the idea
Mhm.
of rounding it up. And, you know, my idea of like, it requires a mind shift, you know, change, you know.
That's true. And one of the shifts, the main shifts that needs to happen is that it is a business. People treat it like a side hustle. And
Right.
the side hustle mentality always has, I could drop this at any time and go do something else.
Correct.
But business has, like, if your business is doing what it's supposed to, it's creating your lifestyle, it's feeding your family,
Absolutely.
right? So
Absolutely.
I
Building
mean,
wealth. Yeah.
right? So in the same way that you would think of a job and your 401ks and all that, and what you need to show up to work and do the job that you were hired to do so that you could get paid.
Right.
If you think about, I always ask the students to the think about the end, like what is the end result, and let's work backwards from there. Because if you keep the end in mind, A, you're going to stay motivated, but B, you're going to put things in place to reach that goal,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I think the side hustle versus this is my bread and butter makes
Correct.
a big difference. And so that's really I
Great
remember when
point.
I was training,
Great.
that's the first thing that I would tell people: you're signing up to do business.
Yeah.
Even if you said you're going to do it part time, you're
Yeah.
signing up to do business. So your thought process is already different.
Exactly, exactly. And there's a lot of side hustles, let's be honest, because the people who show up like in my establishment, it's almost like an out of body experience. Oh my God, you shampoo. Oh my goodness, it smells so good in here. Oh my God. Like, I mean, it's like fireworks. And we're always like, this is like the simplest. We're just enjoy what we do and we love to do service. That's what we're about, you know? And
Yeah.
you understand? And so we like to pamper the women because we understand our customers are, well, who we call our dream clients are there.
Mhm.
They're supporting us. If without them, we wouldn't be there, first of all.
Without them.
You understand?
Yes.
You understand? So we want to treat them like gold so they're not even thinking about going anywhere else. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And when they leave, that they're talking about us all the time. You know,
Right.
so it has to
That's
be,
right.
does the hair smell good? Does it look good? Does she feel good? Did you check all of these things before they left? You know?
That's right.
And
That's right.
and that's why having standards is important. So let's fast forward then.
Mhm. Yeah.
Since we went back a little and got the
Yeah.
beginning, let's talk about one of the things, Rosalie, that makes your story so intriguing is your recent decision to retire um, from Sisterlocks. And you've had such a successful career in my eyes. What led you to step away, and how has this transition been for you personally and professionally? And of course, I know that's like a loaded question. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad we warmed up, but I know that this would be great for you to share because I'm sure a lot of people have questions and I
Yeah.
I
It,
know I do.
I know you do. You know, the way the impact of Sisterlocks for me was on day one of it was in me having the locks, right?
Right.
That I saw the personal change within me based on having these locks.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to class, there
Mm-hmm.
was a clarification of a question that I didn't know I had,
Mm,
which was what's wrong with my hair in terms of all the things that we were doing to our hair in order to fit into different environments. You
mm,
know, with the job interview, keeping your hair straight or wearing a wig, like what was wrong with just, I didn't know I had that question until we got to class and they expanded on the value that we place on our hair is societal, not intrinsic to us,
mm,
right? So I really believe in what Sisterlocks was created to do because it has expanded so many women's lives. Just speaking from my own
yes.
clientele, but from what I can see,
Mm-hmm.
and just for me,
Right.
right?
Right.
And the other thing that was beautiful about it is it was a business in a box.
Oh,
So as soon as you came out of class,
yeah.
you had everything you needed to start changing people's lives. And if you approached it from changing people's lives, it is phenomenal, right?
Mm,
So the shift that has happened is as a something becomes trendy, then it becomes more like another commodity, another thing that people are trying to jump on top of. And
mm-hmm.
the people who've been trained want to jump on those trends, but this thing is so specific. If you make any changes, it's no longer that thing,
Right.
right? So
Right.
the stress within the Sisterlocks community is in finding the freedom in the framework, because there is a certain freedom in the framework that they offer. But
Mhm.
if you want to be a part of the bigger trends that are going on, it's a little restrictive. And I see that tension is what's happening in the industry that has created the two-strand locks and the braid locks, but you're still looking for that look,
Right,
right?
right, right.
So with such a profound effect for me, right? I love Sisterlocks for what it is as a hairstyle, what it is as a business, and what it is for building a community, right? All
Mhm.
those things are working, but in keeping up with the changes that are happening in the industry, they're
Yeah,
not able to make those changes, right? And everybody's business is different. And because I'm a business owner, I can now see her as a business owner. I can see Dr. Kongo as a business owner, and she's doing the things that she's doing for her business that align with who she is, right?
mhm,
So the decision to make a change came, the idea started in 2020
mhm.
when that was the moment I felt like the industry really shifted,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Because the the attachment of the client to the loctician was
Oh, yeah,
so,
that changed.
it was amazing to see how people really relied on you for how they felt.
Yeah,
Because I think we were talking about this with you at some point, how after the pandemic, when the things opened up, clients will come and sit in the chair and just break down
correct.
before we even started doing any hair
Right. And you're
because
like,
of,
is it COVID? I was always thinking it's COVID. I was always ready with my
but
spray.
it wasn't.
It wasn't, it was emotions.
Right.
Oh my
There's an
God.
emotional connection that we've built
Yes.
connected to this thing that we're doing to this hair that
Yes.
they didn't have, and they missed it, and they didn't know
But it
whether
was
they were going to have it again.
right.
Right.
Nobody knew.
So that
Right.
was my first
Mm.
inkling of, maybe I need to start thinking about doing something else, because I need to address this. What is this?
Right.
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 And
Right.
then there was also the change in how the Sisterlocks class was offered,
Oh,
that started to produce less certifications in the in the for less certifications for the brand. And so a few trainers and I tried to,
even less quality of
and quality, yes,
quality
definitely, right?
control went
So
down. Mhm.
yeah, so a few trainers and I tried to come together and address that issue,
Mhm.
but the way we went about it didn't align with Sisterlocks either. And
Mhm.
so I eventually had a very it was a very uh, empowering conversation with Dr. Cornwell personally, to understand where her alignment was and where we had deviated, and where my alignment was and where I was trying to go. And it was one of those conversations where we could see each other, and she was in this lane and I was in this lane, and it was like, well, this is like, what do we do from here? I have to make the shift if I want to not change my alignment, right?
Yeah.
Because I would have
I
had
mean,
to
to be
do
true
that.
to you and your path.
Right. I would have had to do that in order to be in alignment with her, right? And she would have had to, I guess, do some things in order for me to incorporate whatever it is I was thinking, right? So it was I really appreciated the conversation, because I was able to tell her the impact that the brand has had and how much I believe in it, but I have to move on in a different direction. And it was very, just, who saw the end of the, like, this is the end of the road, right?
Let me ask you, now that you've done that retirement move from the Sisterlocks, you're fully with Stylist Excel. What else is new? There was also a book that
Oh,
you wrote. So tell us, like, what's in the near future for you?
yes. So I I created an ebook called
Okay.
Calm Conversations specifically to address this compassion issue,
Nice.
um,
Beautiful.
because I wanted to teach the stylist how to preempt some of the things that can happen,
Right.
right? Because after a while, you can see the trends of what what changes, over the years.
Mhm.
It's the same things that keep coming up. So
Right.
how to preempt the regular things that might happen, and then if a new thing shows up,
Mhm.
then this is your process.
Right.
But the posture, especially lately, because the service is in such high demand, the
Right.
posture sometimes is, you know, do it the way that I outlined on the booking link, and don't talk to me.
Right. I mean, what is that? Come on, guys. We're yo. I don't know what's going on, but I'm glad I'm from Kenya and we've been taught what service is. You know what I mean?
Is
Like,
right, right,
yo, that even Canada, the service is different. So when I talk
right.
about the service, anyway, go ahead. Uh-huh.
So, um, so that's that ebook actually came about as a result of attending the Lockpreneur
Oh,
conference last year,
nice.
and the the host, Pauline, she was one of the best mentees I ever had in my life, and
Oh, good.
I used to want to clone her. Like, can I get more of this kind of person, because she has such fire and such go-getter energy, right? So for her to invite me to participate in this thing that she was doing, I was so honored. And
Nice.
then um, during the event, there was a panel, and what the way I was answering the questions on the panel led people to say, "Can you write write down these things that you were saying?" And at first, I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll write it down, right?" And
Right.
then after, at a break or something, Pauline, I think I must have answered one more question, and Pauline took the mic and was like, "Hey, so you guys, Rosie's going to write an ebook. It's going to be out on so and so date." And I was like, "What?"
I love people like that in your life. Oh my
But
God.
that's the energy I needed for that. And when I was writing it, I didn't even realize I had so much to share,
That's
right?
your
So
energy.
it was
Nice.
awesome. So it's called Calm Conversations, and everybody who's read it so far has really found benefit in how they create their policies and the posture that they want to create for their environment, so that
Oh.
when the client comes in, they already know whether you're for them or not.
Right. I love it. I love, love,
Yeah,
love it. And it's so needed because in this industry, we didn't really have that detail in the training. There's the steps that you could take to do the consultation and move them to the next
right,
step and the next step. But we weren't really trained in the business aspect of how you could decipher and choose the type of client that
right.
you think that you could work with, especially for those of you bringing people in your homes, like
Exactly.
you really have to be particular uh
That's true.
about
Hmm.
that part of that
Yeah.
business, because these are like total strangers,
Hmm.
that are coming in and out. So you've got to have, I mean, but I think in every business you still
That's
need to
true.
make sure you have all those sort of guidelines and what is it, the protocol on how you operate in
Hmm.
before the person even enters, or as soon as they get in, you're walking them through them as the first intro. So because that helps you set the boundaries and
The
everything,
tone, yeah.
tone and all.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was so that I feel like I have some more ebooks I'm going to be
Yum,
working
yum, yum,
on.
yum, yum. Mm-hmm.
And then with the signature lock method, is the structure that I use for mentoring.
Yes.
Um, I've put it together in a system that helps you create your business. Well, you helps you learn the technique. If you don't know the technique, you can start there.
Right.
Learn the technique, and then learn the process of setting up your business, and then the implementation of acquiring the clients and taking them through the process. and making the process of how you run your business, how you talk to your clients, and all the warm and fuzzy that you give to your clients,
Yes.
making that a process that anybody can implement into their lock business in order to bring out uh, that what they call that je ne sais quoi that's yours,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, your
Signature.
the secret sauce. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
So
secret.
everybody's signature is being taken into account. The client's
Mm.
signature in terms of their hair, in terms of their lifestyle, and all the preferences that they have,
Right.
and then the stylist signature in terms of the type of business that you want to run, the type of people that you want to associate with, and where you want to take your business. Because if we're being honest, there's a cap, right, of how many clients you can literally serve based on
By
the hours that
yourself.
you want to work.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to grow,
Yeah.
you're not going to grow doing the physical thing behind the chair. What is that other thing that you have to contribute that can be a part of your business that will help your business grow?
Thank you so much. Y'all are hearing all these nuggets. This is so good. Thank you so much, Rosalie, for breaking that down so that if people wanted to find you, how can they do that? Like, especially
So you can, yeah, definitely. So you can follow me on Signature Lock Method,
Mhm.
on the Signature Lock Method on Instagram, and rosaliemathu.com.
All right. So, as we're thinking about wrapping it up, Rosalie, and it's been so wonderful working with you today and talking and sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do a little game? Because, I'm always about, we have to have fun. I feel like adults don't spend enough
They
time.
don't have enough fun. I
Everybody's
always
always so like,
appreciate you for the
leave
fun.
me alone. And I'm always like, hi, everybody, let's go, because if we're healthy and well, I'm just always like in gratitude. So I think
Yes.
that's what fires me up, with this
Yeah.
energy. So let's play a little game. Okay. Okay. I'm
Sure.
going to give you two choices, two options. Okay.
Okay.
And you
Hmm.
have to pick one. No overthinking. That means if I
Okay.
say this or this, you just answer. Okay.
Okay.
Are we
Hmm.
ready? Here we
I'm
go.
ready.
Morning client or evening client?
Morning.
All right. Speed or precision?
Precision all day.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I told everybody you were going to say that. Okay, sorry. Dream client who's always late or challenging client who's always early?
Dream client all day.
Okay, coaching a new stylist or working on a seasoned pro?
I'm really enjoying working with the seasoned people.
Oh,
I really am. I
yeah.
am enjoying working with the seasoned people because
Oh, I
there's there's more newness to discover. Like with the new people, like you have to start where you have to start, right?
Mhm.
But with the seasoned people, that's where the nuance and you know the
Yeah.
sexiness is in that area.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like there's a lot to learn from them. You
There
know,
is.
like
Yeah, yeah,
even if I'm teaching you about technique and business, I have so much life, and so on.
yeah.
Yeah, there's always a deep exchange.
The
All
deeper,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
So this has been so good. So Rosalie, as we close out this incredible conversation, I want to say thank you. However, what advice would you give to stylists and entrepreneurs as we're wrapping it up, who are standing at a crossroad? Maybe they're thinking of taking a big leap, like retiring or stepping into a new venture. What say you to people who are at the crossroad?
I would say that the most important thing I learned in my journey, we'll call it my separation from Sisterlocks. It was almost like leaving home because I was comfortable and I knew what I was doing in that space. Uh,
Mm,
the advice I would give is to know who you are. Don't have your identity wrapped up in
mm.
things that you do or people that you associate with or any other external thing. Know who you are because the clarity of what to do comes from knowing who you are.
Wow, well said. And I must say, that is so true. I remember when I sold my very first natural hair business, I didn't even know that I could sell a business, you know.
Mm.
And I remember wondering who was I going to be without it.
Yep.
And so I had to re-identify. Now, look, I'm back into it again, and all of the things. But you're so right. You get so wrapped up. You identify yourself with a thing that when it's no longer a thing in your life, then you almost don't know where you stand.
That's right.
So wow.
Literally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Know yourself. All right, Rosalie, thank you so much for your
Thank
story, your
you.
wisdom, and your energy with us today. Your journey is such an inspiration, and I know that our listeners will walk away feeling motivated and ready to level up their own careers. To everyone listening, don't forget to follow Rosalie and check out Stylist Excel Academy if you're ready to transform your business and mindset. Also, you can catch this episode on Spotify. We're officially on Spotify right now. So click the link in my bio and visit the podcast. And and share with your friends and tell one and tell one. Rosalie, share that also in your community. And the good thing about it being on the Spotify podcast, you can drive and listen. You can be, you
Doing other
can
things,
share,
right?
and you could be doing other things. You could be cooking and just getting inspired all at once, doing, multitasking without doing
Mhm.
too much. I want to thank you so much for your time. It has been such a pleasure.